Please all stand.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated for the roll call.
Honorable Cecilia Vivelos de Asis, City Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer. She is on privilege leave, Mr. Chair. Honorable Lucilito S. Aidel Rosario, City Councilor, Acting City Vice Mayor and Presiding Officer, present. Roll call on the City Councilors. Honorable Hildy Rosales, absent. Honorable Gregorio Rabunal, present. Honorable Mila Esterakid Arroyo. He is in the conference room, Mr. Chair, for an interview. Honorable Elmer S. Baldemoro, present. Honorable Vidal P. Castillo, present. Honorable Salvador M. del Castillo, present. Honorable Jose Serranyola, present. Honorable Jose C. B. Perez, present. Honorable Jesse R. Albius, present. Honorable Antonio B. Beltran, present. Honorable Mary Kylie Francine B. Tripolca, absent. Mr. Chair, there is a quorum.
The 33rd regular session of the Sangguniang Panunsod of the City of Naga is now formally called to order.
Prayer.
In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, as we deliberate in today's session, give us the wisdom to overcome passion.
Give us the wisdom to overcome passion.
Give us that understanding heart to do away with prejudice.
Understanding heart to do away with prejudice.
Give us the foresight to know what the future may devise.
Give us the foresight to know what the future may devise.
Give us the courage to seek the truth and what is good.
Give us the courage and strength to seek the truth and what is good.
Give us the facility of language that we may be understood.
Give us the facility of language that we may be understood.
And finally, our Lord,
Our Lord,
make us worthy public servants of this city.
make us worthy public servants of this city.
We love and highly honor
We deeply love and highly honor
Naga City, the heart of Bicol. Amen. In the name of the Father, of the Son, of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Pambansang awit.
Bayang magiliw, karasang silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pa sisiin, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo'y bugaw. May dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagong ay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw ng kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya ng pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning again, my esteemed colleagues, the 13th Sangguniang Panunsod. The acting chair would like to acknowledge the presence of City Councilor Mary Francine Kyle Tripulca. Mr. Secretary, please take note. The chair also would like to acknowledge, before we proceed, the Secretary to the Mayor, Mr. P.J. Barosa, members of the media, and other visitors gathered here this morning. Before we proceed, we wait for at least 2 minutes for Councilor Miles Arroyo, because she signified to the acting presiding officer that she will deliver a privileged speech. Councilor Baldemoro, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. while waiting to Councilor Arroyo, maybe, Mr. Chair, there are other members who would like to avail the privilege time.
Okay. We now come to the next item.
Privilege time.
Anyone? Any member of the Sangguniang Panlungsod would like to deliver a privilege speech? Any member of the Sanggunian would like to deliver?
There being no member, Mr. Chair, to avail the privilege time, may I move for a 2-minute recess?
We declare a 2-minute recess.
Ma-privilege ko kaya. Ma-privilege si Mamay.
We continue with our session. We are now in the privilege time. Yes, Councilor Mila Rakid Arroyo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. My esteemed colleagues in this august chamber, friends, members of the media who are here, good morning, everyone. I rise on privilege this morning because I believe it is my obligation, it is my duty to inform everyone, especially the Nagueños, of what happened in the failed national elections of the Philippine Councilors League. Ang Philippine Councilors League po is an authorized league under the Local Government Code. Section 508 po of the Local Government Code authorizes and recognizes the formation of local government leagues para sa, of course, aramtan na pag nagkakasararo ngaya, mas makusog para sa pagbabago, para sa pagpapakarhay kan sa tong nasyon, bakusan ng kan sa tuyang respective localities. Pigsurat ko po ang sakuyang report, pig-post ko po ini sa sakuyang Facebook page para maski sa ibang mga konsehal makadangugman kan sa kuya pong personal account on what transpired in the PCL's failed election. So personal account po ini, gabos na sinusurat ko digdi na witness kan sa kong mata na experience ko mismo. So on February 25, 2020, I saw the final program of the PCL 11th Congress. 11th Congress po ito, gustong sabihin more than 30 years na ang PCL. Kasi ang every Congress po is every 3 years. I saw the final program of the PCL 11 Congress in the PCL President's Viber group account. Dumang ko lang po nahiling si final program because pabago-bago po ang program. Si program na pig-attach po ninda duman sa mga invitations na iyo doon sa tuyang pigsimbagan na attendan, bako po to si final program na nangyari. I immediately, upon seeing that the program did not provide for an open forum after the officers' reports are rendered, I immediately requested in the same Viber group that the program be amended to include the open forum in order to give the members time to raise questions or clarifications in the reports. Araw po ba kayan pag nagna-National Assembly or General Assembly, ang sarong organization, ma-render ng report ang mga officers? In fact, dapat may mag-motion nga ni to accept to accept the reports of the officers. But my request fell on deaf ears. In the program, I also noticed that the time given as COMELEC hour for voters' education on the computerized voting system was barely 1 hour before the scheduled voting begins, which was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon of February 27, 2020. As lead counsel for Jessel Salceda, I drafted a letter signed by Jessel and addressed to the DILG as chair of the PCL National COMELEC, requesting, among others, that since the voting process will be automated, there should be enough time for the voters to be oriented about the computer that will be used in casting their votes. We also requested that there should be sufficient time, at least 1 day before voting begins, for the IT representatives of the candidates to inspect the computer program, because we all know that a computer will only do what it is instructed to do. Salceda's IT representative emphasized that we cannot submit to an automated election process without the opportunity to test the computer system that will be used. We asked then that inspection be conducted at the very latest in the morning of February 26, 2020. Ining request pong inipigpadarami ni February 24. In order to give the system provider enough time to make rectification if errors are spotted. Unfortunately, the DILG informed us that the orientation of the poll watchers and IT representatives will take place at 9 a.m. of February 27, 2020, or barely 3 hours before start of voting. There was also no change made on the time given for the voters to be oriented on the voting process. So 1 hour man giraray 10 o'clock. In fact, past 10 na po kang nagpuon si orientation kang DILG. To add insult to injury, when it was DILG's time to conduct the voters' orientation at the plenary hall, the attention of the assembly was gravely deviated to Mayor Isko Moreno, who was obliging the many councilors taking selfies with him right in front portion of the stage. So kung nagpipresent po si DILG, day na po ngayon nagdadamog si DILG, kasi yaon duman si Mayor Isko Moreno, sa mga councilors nagpaparetrato sa iya. Sabi ko po nga nagsisigaw po nga ako duman sa likod, ako nakakarinig kay Mayor Isko. Sabi ko, Mayor Isko, sa labas na lang po ang picture, kasi importante po ang presentation ng DILG. Pero siyempre po, harayoon ako, day man ako nadadamog, and maribuko na maray. In the morning of February 27, 2020, at the plenary hall, but backstage, I talked to the program MC and told her that I am planning to present a motion on the floor to allot a time for open forum after the officers' reports are rendered. I was told that the instruction of the organizers of the activity, ang organizers po is the national officers, the instruction was to stick to the program and not to let anyone speak who is not in the program. So, para po sa kuya, that was clear that the program had been set up in defiance of the principles of democratic processes and in complete disregard of members' rights. Kaya po malang madangog ang sasabihin kang mga miyembro. In the poll watchers and IT representatives orientation conducted by the DILG, so sa 9 o'clock na po ini, kang February 27 election day, an alarming information was found out. The machines will not produce a printout of the votes cast. No? So maboto po kami, pero mayo kami ebidensya na ito si binoto mi na ihuhulog ta sa box. Arog po baga kaiyan, dapat si binoto mo, may print up, ihuhulog mo sa box. So that in the event of protest or petition for recount, ikaw kitang babalikan. No? But there was no such printout that the system will produce. Pero si Attorney Owen Garcia po abukid noon, siya ang in charge sa pag-procure kang system, kan si IT provider, ang sabi niya marirectify iyan, no? So ang sabi niya, ang napagkasunduan po duman, igo po da ang another set of data na ipoproduce si machine na duman ilalaag si mga votes na pwedeng i-retrieve later on, pero man giraray print out. So kung sabihin, pag nagka-problema na dahil na mariretrieve, man giraray. But sige, nagtugot po kami para nga ni madagos ang eleksyon. Grabe pong gastos baga duman kang gobyerno sa Congress na ito. During the test run, ang test run po, 15 minutes lang before the voting begins. No? Test run. So during the test run, several glitches and system errors were discovered. While votes were cast, for example, in favor of Councilor Salceda, these votes were counted by the computer in favor of Councilor Dayang Hirang. So ako po naka-experience gani kasi nag-volunteer po ako among the 5 first test runs. Taglima po Salceda camp, taglima Dayang Hirang camp. Ang nagluwas po digdi, si boto kay Salceda, nagpunta kay Dayang Hirang. So sabi po kang COMELEC, nag-protest po kami sa COMELEC. Sabi kang COMELEC, hinapot niya po si IT provider, marirectify ba ini? Sabi kang IT provider, iyo po marirectify. So rectify. Sabi mo, sige, i-rectify yan, pero ang IT me, dapat nahihiling kung anong ginigibo kang si IT provider. So pighihiling niya po talaga kung anong ginigibo, pero dahil siya nagtatouch ng anything. Dahil pwede ito, bakong IT provider iyan. So, naghihiling po siya. So, na-rectify na po So, test run giraray. Pag second test run po, nag-volunteer naman ako, man po giraray. Siya nagruluwas, maski duman sa iba. Na si mga boto, nagkakasarala-sala. So, ayuson na naman po Sige, tugot po kami, ayuson kung talaga maayos. Sabi ko, paghapot mi po, we ask our IT expert, maayos ba talaga? Sabi niya, ayo po maayos yan. Pero dahil po yan madadali-dali. No? So, tugot na naman po kami, na ayuson na naman ninda. So, third test run po, naayos na si Pangaran, no? As far as I am concerned, sa experience ko, dahil kung anong nangyari sa iba, naayos na po si Pangaran kang mga pigboto. Ang naging problema naman, 10 lang kaming nag-test run, ang nagluwas na votes cast, 15. No, sabi mo, talagang sabi may mayo ng pag-asa ini, inapot may si IT may, marirectify pa yan, dahil po ma'am, because ang sabi niya, bako lang pong saro ang nagsurat kang program. Yan po ang sabi niya. And sa ibang nagsurat kang program, mayo po digdi. So mahahaloy po yan na maray na hanapon kung ano ang problema. Kasi kung ikaw po ang nagsurat kang program, ara mo tulos kung ano ang problema. Pag ni-rectify, ara mo direkta katulos duman sa dapat gigibuhon. Mahahaloy po yan ma'am, because bako lang siya ang nagsurat kang program. Dahil niya aram kung anong gigibuhon. Gustong sabihon, bako lang po siya ang nagsurat kang program. So, ang sabi ko po duman sa kuyang account, sabi ko, while as we councilors had aspired for the improvement of our elections by shifting to automation, the several glitches that were discovered cast serious doubt on the integrity of the automated election system that was going to be used. Thus, as lead counsel for Salceda, we demanded for a shift to manual elections. At before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, majority of the National Board convened and reached a decision to shift manual election. Majority po sinda duman. Kaya nga ni kang later sinasabi po nindang may question ngayon sa legality, kaya ngayon nag-convene giraray kami. Anong legality po na may majority sinda? Nag-decide sinda? So why was that not implemented? So, in this meeting of the National Board and the DILG, COMELEC chairperson, the form of the ballot was agreed upon. They estimated that it will take about 2 hours to prepare the ballots and for the manual elections to begin. So ang estimate po was 5:30 makakapuon kita. They even instructed the DILG staff to draft the ballot for the manual election based on the agreement of the board. Nag-agree po sila naman kung ano si form kadtong ballot. However, no official announcement of this decision was made despite the fact that Councilor Garcia of Cebu was tasked to make the announcement. Si Councilor Garcia po, sinabi kang si board after nag-meeting sinda itong first meeting, i-announce na sa mga tao po, nagkakagurulo na talaga naman, i-announce na naghahalat sindang information, mayong information. Pero si Councilor Garcia po, sabi ko, Councilor Garcia, maghanap na kitang microphone, or tamayo po kayong microphone duman, walang megaphone lang. Pero si megaphone nawawala, so hinahanap ko po si megaphone. Pero si Councilor Garcia, sige niya pong upload sa telepono. Instead na maghanap siyang megaphone, so ako po siya nagpaparahanap po ako, sige niyang upload sa telepono, he was trying frantically to call someone, I don't know who. Pagbiri ko pong araw kayo, naghanap ako ng megaphone, mayo na sinda, no? Kaya po yun na to, na ako ang nag-announce kung ano ang situation because COMELEC did not even announce kung ano ang mangyayari, naaanggot na po talaga si mga tao. So nag-announce po ako kung anong naging decision. Sabi ko, maghalat lang po kita because they said in 2 hours we can proceed with elections pero manual na po. Ako po nag-announce kadto, that wasn't an official announcement kasi bako po akong national board. But that was the agreement. I was really wondering, tanong talipig announce, ito palang nag-convene na sinda in another agenda, in another venue. At around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, the National Board had convened again. And at almost 7 o'clock p.m., majority of its members decided to declare a failure of elections because many councilors had already left. Councilor Salceda objected to this decision, saying that the decision of the board on whether to push through with the elections or not should be based on those who decided to stay and not those who decided to leave. After all, as provided in the PCL Constitution and bylaws, only 400 members in good standing are needed to constitute a quorum in any national membership activity of the PCL. Unfortunately, the majority was bent at declaring failure of election. Aram ko po ini because I had to insist na magtukaw po duman as council ni Salceda, pero di po ako pwedeng magtaram. Di po, kung araman na ba ng ordinary ang situation na ito, gabos na dapat na mga kaisipan ko na nagluluwas para madagos ang eleksyon, pero dahil ako pwedeng magtaram, dahil ba akong member kang board. No? After the National Board concluded its meeting, I went down to the plenary hall, thinking that the National Board officers will also be coming down to make the announcement to the councilors who have been waiting for the official announcement on the status of the elections. Several minutes had passed, yet no one from the National Board came to the plenary hall to make the announcement and respond to questions that the members may have concerning the situation. As no information was forthcoming, the councilors started to become angrily indignant, especially due to the fact that they have earlier been asking for a microphone so they could speak in the assembly, but the technical personnel told them that they were instructed by the organizers that no microphone should be given to them. So yaon po, sa assembly duman, nag-aharal at may nagtataram sa inda, nag-agad sindang microphone, ang sabi po, daida pwede. So talaga naaanggot na si mga councilors. Some policemen arrived together with the SMX manager, and the councilors demanded from the SMX management to provide them with a microphone. It was only then that a microphone was provided to them. Once with a microphone, I was then requested by one councilor from Ifugao, si Councilor James Talib, to inform them about what happened in the election. I told them that I am not the person who can officially inform them of what happened, but I will inform them of what I personally know, since the National Board is nowhere to provide information official for them. I informed the Assembly that the COMELEC, as chaired by the DILG, declared that the automated election cannot proceed because the integrity of the results will no longer be credible based on test runs, where votes for Salceda, for example, were summarized by the computer as votes for Dayang Hirang, among others. The system provider was given more than 2 hours to rectify the problems, but subsequent test runs yielded new problems. At around 8 o'clock in the evening, when the thousands of councilors who took the pains to wait for the election to push through could no longer continue to wait for the National Board to come to the plenary hall and present to them the decision on the matter, on ground of failure of leadership, particularly in view of the fact that the National Board did not even bother to present to the Assembly an official information on the election situation, I moved that the Assembly convene themselves as the PCL National Assembly. Thereafter, another councilor nominated me to be the presiding officer, but I declined the nomination because I am counsel for Salceda. Siyempre po, baka isipin kaya, i-railroad mo yung proseso. Someone nominated Councilor Talib of Ifugao, and after declaring presence of a quorum, which under the Constitution and bylaws requires only 4 members to declare, proceeded to exercise the power it has as the highest decision-making body of the PCL. Nakalagman po yan sa bylaws, na highest decision-making body man po ang General Assembly. The National Assembly passed resolutions for the appointment of the temporary presiding officer and secretary. Thereafter, the National Assembly passed the following resolutions. 1. Declaring all the positions up for election during the 2020 PCL national election as vacant. Ang National Board po kaya, composed siya ng itong i-elect po nga ni kang 2020, and mga regional chairpersons. Ang mga regional chairpersons, automatic member po kang National Board. So, day man sinda, kumbaga, day man, kay po i-declare vacant ang position in that, day man sinda up for election on that, in that election. So, ito pong mga interims. Isa po yan, si Chairman, Vice Chairman, Secretary General, Treasurer, PIO, Liaison Officer. Yan po ang mga interim. Second resolution, constituting all the candidates who filed their certificates of candidacy in the February 27, 2020 National Island Elections as ad hoc officers. So ito pong gabos na nagkarandidato, sabi mo sa National Assembly, magtukaw sinda as ad hoc. No, sinda gabos nagkarandidato, tangari gabos sinda, magpursige na magkaigwana tulos election. Tapos sinda ba yung nagkarandidato? Pero piktawan namin lang pong 2 specific tasks and mandate si ad hoc. And sabi mo, they should perform functions relevant only. Kasi hindi magibong maski anong function except ensuring that elections be conducted the soonest possible time, which in the bylaws 30 days po yan from the time of declaration of failure of election. Not to disburse any amount, dahil po sinda dapat maggastos, not directly needed for the said national or island elections that will be called. Of course, except, sabi po, except only for employee salaries, rents, utilities. Si Vice Mayor Bustamante, Bagara, gusto mo siya tabi ba, di ba? Vice Mayor Bustamante. Vice Mayor po siya kang Las Piñas. Founder po siya kang PCL. Nag-post po siya ngunyan. Ang sabi niya, I will request the DILG to ensure that no funds are disbursed except only for the election. So, founder po siya. So, nagsusupport man, naghihiro pa man giraray. Taga Bicol din po. Resolution, Vice Mayor po kang Las Piñas. Resolution mandating that the ad hoc officers decide only by unanimous vote. Tapig-isip mi po kaya, majority man giraray duman si mga nakaturukaw ngunyan, di ba? Na matukaw man giraray dahil nagkarandidato as ad hoc. Matukaw man. So sabi mi po, unanimous ka mo mag-desisyon dyan. Tangarig mayong tyranny of the majority. Resolution instructing the PCL Executive Director to ensure that the mandates of this National Assembly are carried out and to convene the ad hoc officers within 5 days from receipt of this resolution. And upon convening, the ad hoc officers will decide among themselves as to how to proceed with the mandate given to them by the National Assembly. Iba po siyang executive director na naninimbagan po siya sa General Assembly. So dapat po i-carry out niya ini. 5, resolution requesting the DILG to take the full reins in the reconduct of the 2020 PCL national and island elections which shall be manual and shall take place within the soonest time, so 30 days po. For the conduct of this election, the DILG shall promulgate an election guidelines that is fully adherent to the mandates of the democratic process. And last resolution po, requesting the DILG to spearhead the conduct of an investigation to get to the bottom of the cause of the failed election in order for those who are responsible to be held accountable. All the above resolutions will be submitted to the DILG as the agency exercising supervision over local government leagues. Pigpadarami po ang letter, kasuudma, receive po kang DILG. Ang DILG approval po is required para ang mga gagamiton kang councilor sa pag-attend sa PCL activities may be charged against government funds. Without that approval, di po makaka-charge ang mga councilors sa indang LGU funds in attending PCL activities. Kaya sabi mo, dapat DILG should really be interested, no, to really get to the bottom of this because at least 200 million of government funds po ang nasayang digdi. At least po yan because there were more than 12,000 who registered. Ang registration po is 15,000. Sabihin tanasa ng 12,000 lang, that's easily 180 million. Ay sa mga transportation expenses pa po, baka mas mahal pa ang transportation expenses sa registration because yung pong naghaharali sa mga hararayong maray na lugar. No? So, easily 200 million ang nagastos po digdi. Sobra pa. I am therefore hoping that the DILG will come in strong to help resolve the matter. After all, the expenses of PCL members in attending the activities of the PCL may be charged against government funds only if the same is approved by the DILG. The DILG is therefore expected to ensure that the authority granted by it to PCL is not abused or taken lightly. In closing, I am calling upon all of my colleagues in the Philippine Councilors League that our respective sanggunians pass resolutions: 1. Calling for the resignation of the PCL national interim officers; 2. Calling the DILG to recognize and give effect to the resolutions of the self-convened National Assembly and take a decisive role in the resolution of the matter and in ensuring that same waste of government resources will never happen again. Third, revision of the PCL Constitution and bylaws. Iyon na po ni sa itiling ko ang pinaka-long-term answer dyan. To ensure that the organization in its processes will at all times adhere to the principles of democracy. Kasi ang national officers po, di po ba pag may mga resolutions na pinapas ang policy-making body, at during the assembly, ipipresent po yung mga resolutions na iyan for approval. Ipipresent manggirari. Tangari kung dahil po pig-approve, dahil hindi kakapadagos ang pag-implement ka iyan. But that's not happening in PCL. Number 4, ensuring that the PCL truly adhere to its motto. Ang motto po ng PCL, service above self. Yan po ang motto ng PCL, service above self. And to actualize its role as a potent force in nation building. PCL po ang pinakadakulang liga, 17,000 strong, more than 17,000. Dapat magamit po ang pagkakasararo na iyan. Kasi yung po bagay ng objective, kung tano pigtutugutan ang liga, magkasararo ka mo. Tangarig ang strength nindo, mapagsararo nindo to effect national development. So iyan po ang pig-post ko po ini sa sakuyang Facebook page para mabasa kang gabos. Pig-render ko po ini officially as a member of the City Council and as member of the Philippine Councilors League. Igwa po akong 2 resolutions that I have already submitted. I am hoping na ipapasarta po ini pagka-discuss taatyan. So, thank you very much everyone, especially to my colleagues. Aram ko pong bakong madali para sa indo ang mag-attend duman. Dahil sa grabing mga kaulangan but you all came para skutaan na ma-exercise na ang saro sa satong major rights as members of an organization, which is to choose our officers. Unfortunately, that was thwarted by certain circumstances. Sana po ma-ensure na mangyayari iyan sa lalong madaling panahon na makapili kita kang mga deserving officers kan sa tuyang liga. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, City Councilor Mila Rakid Arroyo, for sharing with us those important information. Any other member of the board, council would like to avail of the privileged time? None. Next item.
Reading and approval of the order of business.
Councilor Elmer Baldemoro, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, may I move to dispense the reading of the order of business with the following inclusion. Item number 2 of the special business or order is the letter from the City Mayor requesting for the inclusion under special business or order the passage of a resolution declaring a state of calamity in barangays Pacol and Carolina. Why Carolina? Owing to the occurrence of African swine fever in the said localities. Also, item number 2A is the proposed resolution declaring the state of calamity. Item number 2B, also a letter from the city mayor requesting for a passage of an ordinance authorizing the grant of indemnity to hog raisers affected by the depopulation of pigs. The following rates: 1,000 pesos per wean to grown-up pigs, 2,000 pesos per suckling, and 3,000 pesos for pregnant pig. Item number 3, also a letter from the city mayor requesting for a passage of a resolution authorizing the city mayor to negotiate with Miss Judith Claro for the full acquisition through deed of sale on the property located in Barangay Balatas. Item number 4 is also a letter from the city mayor requesting for the Sangguniang Panglungsod to adopt the CDC resolution number 1, resolution number 2, resolution approving the inclusion adjustment of 19 priority development projects in the 10-year local development investment program. Resolution number 3, resolution approving the inclusion of 9 property development programs. Resolution number 4, resolution approving the inclusion of the 10-year local development program. Item number 5 is the matter of the privileged speech of the Honorable Mila Rakid Arroyo, resolution expressing in unequivocal terms the disgust and indignation of the Sangguniang Panglungsod of Naga over the failure of the 2020 PCL national election declared by the Interim National Board of the Philippine Councilors League, and calling upon these interim officers to immediately resign from their post. Another, Mr. Chair, item number 6, also a resolution calling upon the Department of Interior and Local Government to hold accountable the interim leadership of the Philippine Councilors League for failing to take available courses of action in ensuring that the 2020 PCL national election be successfully carried out, so that wastage of millions of government resources would have been prevented. Under unfinished business, Mr. Chair, item number 8 is a letter from the city mayor requesting for passage of an ordinance appropriating the amount of 3,516,225 under the land and under the account land of the City Engineer's Office for the just compensation for Mr. Napoleon Sarto, for the just compensation of the heirs of Juan Sarto, and the documentary stamp tax. Item number 9 is a letter from MNWD regarding the request of exemption of the City Government of Naga from shouldering the cost of interconnection, disinfecting and flushing, water sampling, and bacteriological testing. Item number 10, also a letter from the City Mayor pertaining to the deed of usufruct between the City Government of Naga and the Philippine Nurses Association. Item number 11 is a letter from Father Wilmer Tria of Consuelo Madrigal Foundation pertaining to the draft deed of donation. Under new business, Mr. Chair, item number 5, a letter from Mr. Raul Oliver of the Naga City Investment Board pertaining to the resolution approving the operating guidelines of the Naga City Digital Innovation Hub. Item number 6 is a letter from Lisa Mapa del Puerto pertaining to the availment of housing unit at Janville. Item number 7 is the letter from Mr. Renato Gomez of Felix Plazo Urban Poor Settlers Community Association. Item number 8 is a resolution number 2020-005 of Barangay Igualdad. Item number 9 is a letter from Robinson pertaining to the request to allow tricycle, e-trike, and taxicle to cross from Carnation Street going to Robinson's Place, Naga. Item number 10 is a letter from Punong Barangay Rodrigo Agravante pertaining to the awarded lot of Urban Poor Affairs Office. Under other matters, Mr. Chair, item number 1 is the endorsement from the City Administrator pertaining to Executive Order establishing the City Epidemiology and Surveillance Unit in the City of Naga. And lastly, Mr. Chair, item number 2 of the other matters is DILG Memo Circular number 2020-043 enjoining support for the adoption and implementation of the LGU Resilience Readiness Monitoring Framework. I so move for its approval, Mr. Chair.
So we approve our today's agenda. Before we proceed, we would like to express felicitations to the Honorable Vice Mayor. Today is her birthday. And second, we congratulate our esteemed colleague, Councilor Oying, and wife for the gift of child. We wish to see in the coming future Councilor Kylie Tripulca. Next item.
Order of business, reading and approval of the minutes of the previous sessions.
Councilor Baldemoro, sir.
Mr. Chair, may I move to dispense the reading of the minutes of the 24th regular session of the 13th Sangguniang Panglungsod held on December 20, 2019 and move for its approval.
Next item.
Another, Mr. Chair, is the minutes of the 26th regular session held on January 14, 2020 and move for its approval.
We approve the same.
Another, Mr. Chair, is the minutes of the 27th regular session held on January 21, 2020. I so move for its approval.
We approve the same.
And lastly, Mr. Chair, minutes of the 30th regular session held on February 11, 2020. I move for its approval.
We also approve the same.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next item.
Special business or order, a letter dated February 26, 2020, from the Honorable City Mayor requesting for the passage of a resolution authorizing him to offer and award through a competitive process the rehabilitation, refurbishing, operation, and long-term lease of the cold storage and blast freezers of the TLC Beatrice Foods Philippines adjacent to the Naga City Abattoir, subject to applicable rules and regulations.
We have here the letter of the City Mayor asking for authority. Any discussion? Yes, Councilor Miles Arroyo.
Question, Mr. Chair. May we see first the contract between the City Government of Naga and TLC Beatrice when they constructed that facility? May we see the contract?
The acting presiding officer thinks that we are not supplied with the necessary data at the moment. If you like to request for the department,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
and we request the city administrator to provide us with the
Yes, or maybe refer it to city properties, Mr. Chair, because we have to look at the contract with TLC Beatrice.
I also saw in the the agenda yung letter of intent of yung the proponent. So, any other manifestation as regards this matter? Councilor Miles is proposing that we refer it to the Committee on Properties, City Properties. So, hearing none, the motion is granted. We refer the matter to the Committee on City Properties. Next item.
The letter dated March 2, 2020 from the Honorable City Mayor requesting for the passage of a resolution declaring a state of calamity in barangays Pakul and Carolina owing to the occurrence of African swine fever in the said localities. Also available, Mr. Chair, Your Honors, is the draft resolutions to this effect.
Councilor Baldemoro, sir.
Just to clarify the affected barangay, Mr. Chair, is it Carolina or Cararayan?
I think it's Cararayan, Pakol and Cararayan. Yeah, thank you, Councilor Baldemoro. Councilor Arroyo, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Would it be more prudent for us to declare state of calamity citywide, considering na mabilis ang pag-spread kaiyan? So, baka at siyang kayo, magad naman kitang declaration for the next barangay. So, why don't we declare state of calamity citywide?
Yes, I think that's item number 3. So, if the body would like to, would accede to the request, we go to item number 3. That's the citywide declaration of state of calamity. Before that, Councilor Del Castillo, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I think the declaration should not be limited to a particular barangay.
Okay.
Because considering that the spread of the African swine fever is so fast, we do not know whether, as of now, confined pa lang sa barangay Cararayan in Pakul. Anong malay ta kung makaabot ng San Felipe, Carolina, and other barangays of the city. So, igdi na naman sa tuya, mahagad ng another authority. So, I believe if we will declare a state of calamity due to the confirmed existence of African swine fever, it should be for the entire city of Naga.
So, we go to item number 3. And item number 3 is being flashed in this screen. This is the context of the proposed declaration. Thank you, Councilor Del Castillo. Councilor Abonal, sir. Okay. Councilor Arroyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support this proposed resolution, but with a change in the title, the last part of the sentence to start from to disburse. It should be to disburse from the 30%. Kasi alam naman iubos na i-disburse si 30%. To disburse the 30%. Kung ano lang kaipuan ko, but disbursing it from the 30% DRRM fund named as quick response. So that's my only proposed change in the title, Mr. Chair.
With minor corrections. So, any formal motion for the declaration? Yes, Councilor Mila Rakid Arroyo.
On joint and collective motion, Mr. Chair. So may I move that we pass the resolution declaring the city of Naga under state of calamity due to existence of confirmed cases of African swine fever in the barangays of Naga, and authorizing His Honor the City Mayor to disburse from the 30% of the Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Fund named by law as Quick Response Fund. So we move on joint and collective motion, Mr. Chair.
On joining collective motion, we declare the city of Naga under state of calamity as stated in the resolution. Next item.
Under the same matter, Your Honors, the request of the City Mayor for the passage of an ordinance authorizing the grant of indemnity to hog raisers affected by the population of pigs on the following rates: 1,000 per wean to grown-up pigs, 2,000 for suckling, 3,000 per pregnant pig.
Thank you. Councilor Baldemoro, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Department of Agriculture will also give 5,000 pesos to per pig However, Mr. Chair, we understand that the processing may be given on a later date, maybe 1 month or 2 months. So the city government through the mayor proposed to give 1,000 on top of the amount to given by the Department of Agriculture. And so that's the 1,000 per win to grown up pigs. For the suckling, the Department of Agriculture will not give any amount. So the city mayor proposed for 2,000 pesos per suckling. And on the 3,000 pesos, there may mga bari-barita, Mr. Chair, na pigtatarago na itong mga anayon. Dahil siyempre, kabuhayan ninda. And mas maray na isurrender itong mga anayon. So the city government offered for 3,000 for pregnant pig. So kung may na pong kaputan ng mga pag-iriba, may I move on joint and collective motion.
Thank you, Councilor Valdemoro. Before that, Councilor Del Castillo, sir.
Mr. Chair. May I know whether that 5,000 being given or to be given by the Department of Agriculture covered, with the exception of the suckling, covered those pigs who are pregnant? Because it's not clear, Mr. Chair, whether that 3,000 will be given on top of the 5,000.
That's the purpose to answer. I was able to attend the meeting of the hog raisers in the two areas, and that's the purpose that the city government will be giving assistance on top of that will be given by the Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, so therefore, the DA will be granting an assistance to each pig 5,000 pesos, including pregnant. Bako lang siya itong mga piga-atama na bunoon, kundi pati siya itong mga anayon. So, all in all, in the city of Naga, 6,000 per pig, pero 8,000 per pregnant or so.
That's also the understanding of the acting presiding
Thank you,
officer.
Mr.
Thank you. Councilor Arroyo, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, since we declared a state of calamity in the entire city, the ilan mag-release sa Kararayan and Pakol ng tatamad assistance. I agree with the amounts, Mr. Chair. Considering for grown-up pigs or weaned or grown-up, 5,000 plus 1,000, so that would be 6,000. For suckling, it would be 2,000. Pero yung kay separately, ano ba, at least compensate sila. And 3,000 for pregnant pigs, 8,000 in total. Ang question, Mr. Chair, can we request, not actually a question, but a motion, can we request the City Agriculture Office to furnish us the list of the parties affected and the number of hogs that are affected? Immediately, Mr. Chair, if they already have a report, if we can submit a report to us now if they already have the list.
Before the end of the session.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Council.
I support the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Miles. Although as of this moment, they're still conducting inventory in the affected areas, the two ground zeros. But we will request the Department of Agriculture, the Secretary.
Implications of this declaration of state of calamity. That's because I heard that for the next days and the next weeks and months maybe, dahil na sarado na ang city abattoir para mag-slaughter ng mga pigs for sale. And in effect, mayon ang ibibentang mga hogs or slaughtered pigs sa public market. Is that provided in the declaration of state of calamity para maaraman man kayo itong, lalo na itong mga sakadit na mga paratinda, and as much as the consumers also should know the real implications or the real parameters of this state of this declaration of state of calamity.
Okay, thank you. Although the acting chair would like to answer the queries of Councilor Joe Perez, would the body agree with me that we request the city agriculturist to come over and explain to us para mahiling ta ang overall picture kaning ining anong ini. But we now approve the resolution, the ordinance, the proposed ordinance. Okay? So we request the secretary to invite the city agriculturist. Councilor Del Castillo, sir.
It's not only the city agriculturist but the city veterinarian.
City
as well.
veterinarian. Okay.
Para magpaliwanag sa tuya ang bagay na ito.
Thank you, Councilor Del Castillo. We also invite the city vet, Dr. Junius Elad. So, having heard the motion, on a joint and collective motion, we pass this ordinance. Next item.
The letter dated March 2, 2020 from the Honorable City Mayor requesting for a resolution authorizing him to negotiate with Ms. Judith Claro for full acquisition through deed of sale of her property in Barangay Balatas for the proposed decentralized services sites for resiliency center, police and fire stations, and urban agriculture facility.
Discussions. Councilor Mila Rakidaroyo, ma'am.
Chair, is that included in the authority that we have granted earlier? No, that's new?
No.
Can we have the appraisal first, Mr. Chair? Usually when the request for negotiation would also already contain the information appraisal from at least at the level of the city assessor.
So we request the secretary to ask the city assessor to provide us with the appraisal of the property.
Yes. Second, Mr. Chair, the city mayor earlier already, and we did grant request for authority to negotiate for certain properties. What is the relationship of that property to that which we already authorized? Kasi yung baga si sarong purpose na din duman para dyan sa fire stations, urban agriculture, and others. Police station.
There were previous requests, and
We granted it, Mr. Chair.
this representation thinks that this is a new,
Yes.
although part of the bigger plan for
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Chair. So, why is that now being singled out rather than those we have already authorized?
So we would like to ask that we ask the Sir PJ or Sir Dada to provide us yung mapa para.
Yes, in relation to those that we have already authorized.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Mila Arroyo. We have in the gallery Sir PJ Barosa, the acting secretary to the mayor, so that we can dispose of this matter now. Are you ready, Sir PJ, of the data? So we suspend the rules. We give the floor to Sir PJ Barosa, acting secretary to the mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and again, happy birthday to the Vice Mayor, Ma'am Nene. We're currently on special leave, birthday leave. I don't have the map, Mr. Chair, but the intention of the mayor in asking for that authority, it was not covered by the previous authorities, ma'am, because this is the lot situated adjacent to the lot of Cha Ason, which was under an expropriation case, and so far the mayor is pursuing the idea to, since already 13 million was already garnished in the funds of the city government on that matter, just pursue it and then buy another lot adjacent to it for the purpose of the Resiliency Center, police and fire stations. Because under the expropriation ordinance approved by this body, duly authored by Councilor Arroyo, the purpose of the expropriation of that property was for a cemetery, and given that there was already substantial amount garnished from the City Government of Naga, pursue that already. Anyway, the remaining amount is very small already, 400, around 400,000. So just pay it and settle the matter. So this one is for the lot agency to it, in order for us to pursue.
Thank you, Sir PJ. Councilor Arroyo, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Can we defer the matter, Mr. Chair? We might encounter problems there because if this property is already subject of our expropriation, and in fact, we have already paid under that expropriation, so what is this authority to acquire through deed of sale? So, baka i-defer ta muna, pag-ulayan tang maray siguro, Mr. Chair, ang legal implications sa inyo. Kasi this is the same property that we have already expropriated and for which we have already paid.
I think Sir PJ is
Different property.
adjacent to
Adjacent to the one we expropriated. Or the
before we proceed, we congratulate
Yes, congratulations.
Daddy Oying Rosales. Congratulations, sir. Sige, please proceed, Councilor Arroyo.
Yes, Mr. Chair, dumuntabi, in the previous authority that we have given the mayor, one of the purposes is really for the establishment of resiliency center, police and fire station. So, nagtaon na po kitang authority to acquire those properties.
That was for the road.
No, dakulong duman ng mga
And then yung sa likod pa po. Anyway, we will provide the map and by siguro if the city will allow during the break,
Okay.
maybe
Sige.
present
so that
it.
we can discuss
Maybe
this
we can
further.
present it here,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, para mahiling ta na rin si mapa kadtong mga properties that we have already authorized
Yes,
the mayor
yes
to
po.
acquire.
Yes po.
Okay.
We will provide
So
all the
we will
data
discuss
within.
this matter later this morning. Okay. Thank you, Sir PJ. Thank you, Councilor Miles. Next item.
The letter dated March 2, 2020 from the Honorable City Mayor requesting for adoption of 3 resolutions of the City Development Council. Resolution number 002-20 series of 2020 approving the inclusion, adjustment of 19 priority development projects in the 10-year Local Development Investment Program. Resolution number 3 approving the inclusion of 9 priority development projects in the 2020 Annual Investment Program. And lastly, resolution number 004 approving the inclusion in the 10-year Local Development Program and 2020 Annual Investment Program certain projects responsive to recent development issues and concerns.
Discussions. Councilor Del Castillo, sir.
I'm not objecting to the grant of the request, but I just want to know what are those projects included in this request. We should also know what project, how much is the cost, the location of the project.
Are you
Because it's only now that I see that that's the problem, Mr. Chair, of so many inclusions in the agenda. We are not given the time to study the matters that we are discussing. So I believe we should defer first all those inclusions which needs our action today.
Thank you. Are you referring, sir, to resolution?
Not only this, but all inclusions which needs our action in today's regular session, except those to be referred to a particular committee.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Ma'am Tin, siguro inang bone of contention ni Councilor Del Castillo. You show resolution, the third resolution, yung lamp. Yan. Next. Sige po. Okay po ba? I think this resolution really needs our full understanding. The first two are part of our earlier discussions. And this new resolution, I think, should be subjected to the thorough deliberation of the Sangguniang Panlungsod. Councilor Baldemoro, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The additional agenda is submitted by the City Mayor, marked as urgent, so I included it under special business or order. And the list of projects that was requested was already placed on the screen as stated in the three resolution. So each resolution, Mr. Chair, contained the list of projects. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Sige. There is a request that we defer consideration of this resolution for the request of the City Mayor to adopt these three resolutions. Okay. Any other opinion as regards the deferment of this of the discussion? Councilor Baldemoro.
Mr. Chair, could we temporarily defer this item and discuss it later? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So, as moved by Councilor Del Castillo, duly seconded by Councilor Miles Rakid Arroyo, we temporarily defer this matter and discuss this later in the morning.
Yes, Chair, when we approve annual investment program, tuturukaw po baga kita na talagang pigurulayan ta. And then changes, if we present sa to, in 5 minutes, ma-decide kita. That's not, I don't think that would be healthy. So I support the motion of the Honorable Del Castillo.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think the other course is to invite the City Planning and Development Officer to explain. Imbitaran ta si Sir Willie para explain sa tuya. Next session. Next session. Okay. Okay. So please make the formal motion, Councilor Del Castillo, sir.
Corollary to my previous motion, I move that we calendar these items for the next regular session under unfinished business. By the time I believe all of us have already gone over the list of projects covered in this request. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And we invite the CPDO.
If it is necessary, then we should invite the City Planning and Development Coordinator.
Before
Thank you,
we rule on that, Councilor Baldemoro, sir. Councilor Baldemoro, Councilor Obonal, and Councilor Albius in that order.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The executive is requesting, Mr. Chair, the passage of a resolution number 004. The reason is the item number 14, the Panganiban Drive Greening and Remediation Project, is due for submission at the DBM. So if we will pass this next week, late na po kita. So baka po makonsider, Mr. Chair. Only the resolution number 4, which included the Panganiban Drive Greening and Remediation Project, Mr. Chair.
Resolution number?
There were 3 resolutions that was presented, Mr. Chair, and the urgent is resolution number 4. So nakikiulay po na kung pwede, we could pass a resolution adopting resolution number 4 due to the time constraint on the submission to the DBM.
Yes. Thank you, Councilor Baldemoro. Councilor Albius, sir.
I was informed by the Secretary to the Mayor that this resolution is needed for submission to the Regional Development Coordinating Council and the DBM for the fund allocation. So if our colleagues would permit that we invite our city planning officer, Sir Willie Frelies, to come over so that this resolution, the details can be discussed thoroughly during this session.
Thank you, Councilor Orbios. Councilor Abunal.
Mr. Chairman, no matter what the action may be, may we request for printouts of all these itemized
The
things
items, okay.
for next session?
There are two pending motions in the floor today. One is the motion of Councilor Del Castillo, duly seconded by Councilor Arroyo, that we defer discussion of this next session. The other motion is propounded by Councilor Baldemoro, that we approve resolution number 4, which is being required to be submitted to the Regional Development Council in Legazpi City. Now, how do we resolve this matter now? Councilor Del Castillo, sir.
Will say, if that project, Panganiban Greening, is the one being considered as urgent, then we take out that project only. All the rest should be included in the next regular session. I will not object to approving that particular project if it is really urgent. But all the rest should be, we should be given time to go over all the rest, Mr. Tate. Bakit naman dapat binibirigla lang kita?
Thank you, Councilor Badi. Yes, ma'am. Last item before the chair rules on the matter.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is the urgency because the urgency raised by Councilor Baldemoro on that particular item, is it because that project will be funded by national fund? Yes. So we are assured therefore that our fund, which we have already decided how to spend in this year, kasi ang AIPP, iyan si decision ta na paano ang funds kang city gagastuson for the year. So, gustong sabihin, pag in-approve na po iyan, it's because national government fund ang gagastuson dyan and may hinahabol kitang fund na dapat mailaugtayan so that we can get that fund. So, with that manifestation of Councilor Baldemoro, I'm again supporting the motion that we exclude that list of project, that particular project, and we approve it. We support the resolution of the Local Development Council only for that particular project, which is
Number 14.
Number 14, Panganiban Drive Greening and Remediation Project, which is 30 million because the fund for it will come from the national government. Baka kung internal fund na naman, madideviate na naman yan, bako man yan sipag-urulayan tang priority to for this year. Pero kung national government fund, then fine. Pero kung tutuson po nga kung makakakuha kitang mga dagdag na fund from the national government, it is to augment dapat itong mga nagkadesisyonan na priority ta for this year. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Bila Arroyo, Councilor Del Castillo, Councilor Baldemoro. We now defer consideration of this matter for next session, the 3 resolutions, except that we approve item number 14 in the 4th resolution of the City Development Council.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Councilor Abunal, sir.
Mr. Chair, we ask for printouts of all proposed resolutions.
We request the Secretary to provide and every member
Before we leave, Mr. Chairman.
each and every member copies of the resolution. Next item.
The subject matter of the privileged speech of the Honorable Mila is directed at Raul.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I am proposing 2 resolutions. I have furnished this August chamber, honorable members of this August chamber copies of this resolution. So the first resolution I am proposing, Mr. Chair, is a resolution expressing in unequivocal terms the disgust and indignation of the Sangguniang Panlungsod of Naga over the failure of the 2020 PCL National and Island Officers elections declared by the Interim National Board and Officers of the Philippine Councilors League, and calling upon these interim officers to immediately resign from their posts. So I move, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Miles Arroyo. Before we rule, Councilor Abunal, sir.
all positions. Who are these interim officers, therefore, that we're asking to resign? May we know?
Thank you, Sir Greg. Councilor Miles.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Honorable Abunal. Ang interim officers po are the national chairman, kasi natapos po ang term ninda kang June 30, 2020. So they are interim at the moment until the election is finally concluded. So the national chairman, the national vice chairman, the national president, the national secretary general, the national auditor, the national treasurer, the national liaison officer, and the national public relations officer. So yun po to ang 8 interim officers. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Sir Greg. There's a motion and duly seconded. The chair would like to propound certain things before we finally approve of this resolution. Please take note of paragraph number 5, Ma'am Tin. Paragraph number 5. Paragraph number 5 states that the technical glitches consisted of votes for Giselle Salceda being counted by the computer as vote for Danilo Dayanghirang, and votes of 10 persons being counted by the computer as votes of 15 persons. Do we agree that we include this in the resolution? Because I understand only Councilor Miles had the personal knowledge of this matter. Or if the main proponent would agree with the acting presiding officer, we instead of this paragraph, we adopt the paragraph in your next resolution, paragraph number 6, para general statements lang, without naming names. This one. The second resolution, Councilor. The first resolution contains names of candidates.
I agree with the recommendation of the chair.
Okay, sige.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Miles. So, on joint and collective motion, we approve the proposed resolution. Next item.
The second resolution.
On a resolution earnestly calling upon the Department of the Interior and Local Government to hold accountable the interim leadership of the Philippine Councilors League for failing to take available courses of action in ensuring that the 2020 PCL national and island elections be successfully carried out so that the wastage of millions of government resources could have been prevented. May I move on joint and collective motion, Mr. Chair?
On joint and collective motion, we approve the resolution. Before we proceed, the acting chair would like to acknowledge our friends from the Summit and Go Hotels, Robinsons, Joms Kiano, Miss Yap, Miss Salazar, and Ma'am Tina, okay. Thank you for hosting us. Next item.
Unfinished business. The endorsement dated February 21, 2020 from the acting city administrator endorsing the memorandum of agreement to be entered into by and between the city and the Naga City People's Council for the continuation of partnership until 2020, requesting authority for the city mayor.
We have here the MOA between LGU Naga and the NCPC. Any discussion or final motion? Pakibaba man tin. Pakibaba. Sige pa.
Baka in-approve na yan.
Na-approve na sir. Councilor Jill Oying Rosales.
We have already approved, Mr. Chair, the budget submitted by the NCPC
Okay.
when they presented it here in our August chamber. So this merely pertains to a request to enter into a MOA for the continuous partnership between the NCPC and the City Government of Naga. So may I move for the authority be given to our City Mayor? So move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Yes. Thank you, Councilor Rosales, sir. Councilor Del Castillo, sir.
Pertains to an authority being requested by the mayor to enter into that agreement. It does not pertain to the approval of the budget of the NCPC. To be clear about it, because I have some query with regard to the details of the budget of the NCPC. But when it comes to the authority being requested by the mayor, I have no objection with it.
Okay. Thank you.
So that authority should be subject to ratification of this body. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Del Castillo. As moved by Councilor Rosales and unanimously seconded, we authorize the City Mayor to enter a memorandum of agreement with the NCPC subject to the ratification of the Sangguniang Panlusod. Councilor Arroyo, ma'am.
We're just clarifying, therefore, that the budget of the NCPC is not yet approved. It's approved already. It's already approved.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilor Miles. May I ask the Secretary if we have records that we already approved the budget of the NCPC?
Diba may amendments in the dapat?
Councilor Rosales.
It was approved, Mr. Chair, when the Honorable Arroyo was on official business. I remember, Mr. Chair, I rendered the committee report, and during my report, I manifested the motion to approve the budget of the NCPC for year 2020. So the resolution is right there, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Rosales, sir. Na-approve na po pala Councilor body and this representation pala the main the sponsor of the resolution. Okay, so as moved duly seconded, we authorize the City Mayor to enter with the NCPC MOA subject to the Sanggunian's ratification. Next item.
The endorsement dated February 24, 2020 from the Honorable City Mayor endorsing for ratification the Memorandum of Agreement entered into by and between the City and the GSIS for temporary GSIS service desks inside the City Hall premises in case of disaster or disruptive event strikes affecting the operation of the GSIS Naga branch office.
Councilor Baldemoro, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We already authorized the City Mayor to enter into a memorandum of agreement, and this now endorsement from the City Mayor requesting for a ratification. So may I move, Mr. Chair, for a passage of a resolution ratifying the memorandum of agreement between the City Government of Naga and the Government Service Insurance System.
As moved and duly seconded, we ratify the memorandum of agreement entered into by the LGU Naga under Mayor Nelson Ligacion and the GSIS for a space in the premises of the city government. Next item.
The letter dated February 24, 2020 of Attorney P.M. Gerardo Borja, Legal Counsel of his spouses Jacqueline Lilo and Alvin Tilo, following up the request to purchase Lot 8, Block 12 of Isarog Heights, Phase 1 of the city to be used as access road.
Yes, Councilor Arroyo, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The matter is pending with the Committee on Housing. Kasi ang sabi mi dyan, Mr. Chair, since ang gusto nilang makalun lote ang lote pong iyan included in our resettlement site. So ang sabi mi, ribayan na lang ninda duman sa daga din mismo ninda, no? Iga-award ta bagayan sa mga beneficiaries ta. So kindly please may I move that we refer the matter to the Committee on Housing. It's still pending there, Mr. Chair. They have not complied with what was discussed in the committee. So refer again so that we can call them again. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. As requested, we refer the matter to the House. Next item.
The letter dated February 11, 2020 from Ms. Edna Belmonte, State Auditor 4, Commission on Audit, on the transfer of fund from General Fund to Special Education Fund and requesting comment relative thereto within 15 days from receipt of the letter.
Councilor Baldemoro, sir.
Mr. Chair, may I move to refer this to the Committee on Appropriation to invite Mr. Hernani Soron and Ma'am Pasensya Tabinas on the committee hearing.
Mr. Nani Soron and Mrs.
Mrs.
Pasensya
Tabinas to be invited during the committee hearing.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Baldemoro. Councilor Del Castillo, sir.
Part of this presentation, Mr. Chair, I believe it should not only be at the committee level that this matter be discussed. Because as I read the the letter from COA, there seems to be a misrepresentation on the request on this particular item. Because in the letter of COA, this subject matter of the request was already disallowed sometime in 2014. Pig-disallow na pala, pero nag-request pa sa sanggunian na magpasa ng ordinansa which is violative of existing laws. So I think the explanation should be made in the plenary. The city budget officer, the city accountant, the head of the ESO should explain to us why they have requested us to pass that ordinance in violation of existing laws, both accounting and auditing rules, in budgetary rules and regulations. So I demand, Mr. Chair, that this matter be calendared on the next regular session, inviting the city administrator, which is the budget officer, the city accountant, and the head of the ESO.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Del Castillo. We have two motions. That of Councilor Baldemoro, that we refer this to the Committee on Appropriations, and that of Councilor Del Castillo. Yes, Councilor Arroyo, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Chair, those two are not conflicting with one another, so we can pass both, Mr. Chair. I'm supporting both motions, Mr. Chair. I'm seconding those two motions. Dapat kaya po may motion i-disclose naman na.
Which one will prevail?
So the first motion, Mr. Chair, is to refer to the Committee on Appropriations. The second motion is that they should be called to explain to us. Is the motion to explain to us now or in the next session?
Next session.
In the next regular session. So we can dispose of the matter first, Mr. Chair, on referral to the Appropriations Committee. If the purpose for referring it will be achieved in the next session, then we don't have to refer it to the committee.
That's the purpose why the acting chair delayed the resolution of the motion. Otherwise, we will be circuitous in our proceedings.
Exactly.
When we refer this to the Committee on Appropriations, papapod ang Committee on Appropriations, then during the plenary, we will again call them.
So there
circuitous.
was, yes, Mr. Chair, there was an objection to the motion to refer to the Committee on Appropriations.
I did not hear the objection. I'm sorry. I did.
So therefore, the...
Okay, so, sorry, the chair apologizes to Councilor Del Castillo. Dahil ko nadangog si objection mo. There is an objection to the motion of Councilor Baldemoro that we refer this to the Committee on Appropriations and instead to the plenary next session. Yes. Before we rule, we vote. Councilor Baldemoro.
Now, Mr. Chair, I am withdrawing my motion and yield to the proposal to invite the said person in the next regular session.
Thank you for yielding, Councilor Baldemoro. The ruling will now be that we request the presence of the city accountant, Pasensya Tabinas, City Budget Officer and Acting City Administrator Francisco M. Mendoza, Hernani Soron, the Department Head of the ESO, and these three to appear before us during our next session on March 10, 2020, to explain the matters as contained in the COA audit findings. Next item. It's now 10:30, ladies and gentlemen. We take a break. Okay.
Break, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Thank you.